Welcome, ladies, to the Work in Real Time, Episode 4. It is January the 28th. My name is Alicia, and I am a holistic health coach who supports women in creating lives that feel sustainable, nourishing, and grounded. Since the last time I checked in, I've continued moving through and finishing Week 1, Lesson 2, Awareness Eating, slowing down and tuning in. And I've also begun Lesson 3, Guilt-Free Permission, Why All Food Fits. What I'm noticing is that this work is asking me to live differently, not just eat differently. And that feels both freeing and uncomfortable. One of the biggest realizations I keep coming back to is this. The food rules I've lived by for most of my life no longer serve the woman I'm becoming. I can see now that for a long time I believed those rules were helping me stay in control. But what they really did was keep me small and disconnected from my body and my truth. I'm beginning to understand that my body is just that, mine. It was never meant to look like anyone else's. It was never meant to meet a universal standard of beauty. And because I'm slowly accepting that truth, I'm finding that I can loosen my grip on weight and shift my focus toward health and wholeness instead. As I sit with this, I'm also seeing the cost of restriction more clearly than I ever have before. Restriction didn't just affect what I ate, it affected how I lived. I didn't go on certain vacations because of how I looked. I skipped social gatherings. And when I did show up, I was often hiding, pulling in, shrinking, and distracted by my body instead of being present in the moment. I've missed years of fully being myself. Restriction didn't make my life smaller because of food. It made my life smaller because of fear. Because of this work, I've been waking up each day with a simple intention to listen to my body and ask it throughout the day, what do you need right now? Sometimes my body answers with things I don't want to hear. Like this past Tuesday was a good example. I felt sluggish all day. I completed what absolutely needed to be done, but everything else felt incredibly hard. I had a full list of things I planned to accomplish. When I finally paused and asked my body what it needed, the answer was clear: rest. So I decided to honor that. I sat down, and the next thing I knew, I had fallen asleep. 3 hours had passed. When I woke up, the day was essentially over. It was now time for dinner, winding down, and then bed. And honestly, I was disappointed. I didn't know when I was going to get to those things I hadn't finished. But by the next day, not only did I complete everything that was left on that list, I actually had the energy to do one more thing I thought would have to wait until next week. That moment reminded me of something I already know, but often forget. When I'm rested, I think and perform better, and I'm far more patient. I've continued my simple morning routine most days of drinking a full glass of water first thing in the morning after brushing my teeth and taking 3 deep breaths to arrive in my body. I've also fallen in love with something very small, sipping on a cup of warm tea during the day. It's become a quiet pause for my body, a reminder that I don't have to rush through everything. At meals, I practice slowing down, at least for the first few bites, and for some, taking 2 or 3 slow, deep breaths before beginning. I'm still a fast eater. I had to be when my kids were young if I wanted to eat at all. But now I'm learning to notice the taste, texture, and smell. And when I slow down, I can feel and listen to my body more clearly. I notice when I'm satisfied, when I'm comfortably full, as well as when the food is still enjoyable and when it's not. There's less urgency, mindlessness, and a quiet sense of satisfaction that feels new. In lesson 3, I have chosen 2 cards. The first was the Freedom Bite. That morning, I woke up craving pancakes, so I made them 2 good-sized ones with butter and syrup. I slowed down and enjoyed every bite. No rush, no guilt, and when I was full, I stopped. The second card focused on worth beyond the plate. The affirmation I repeated throughout the day was, food does not define my worth. And that sentence landed deeper than I expected. As part of lesson 3, I reflected on what foods I've labeled as bad in the past. For me, that's been sweets and foods higher in carbohydrates. When I think about eating them, old stories show up about losing control, undoing progress, and needing to compensate. The guilt and hesitation often arrive before I even take a bite. That's when it really hit me. This isn't about food, it's about fear. Something else that has stood out this past week is how different this program feels from others I have done in the past. Most programs I've joined are built around do's and don'ts, especially around food. This first month on the program has focused much more on my thoughts, emotions, and relationship with myself. And the pace has been slow. At first, I wondered if it might be too slow. But now I can see how much space that slowness gives me to integrate what I'm learning. It's one thing to write a program, it's definitely another to follow it as a participant. And I'm realizing how necessary this pace really is. What I'm carrying forward from this week is a deeper awareness of the grip restriction has had on my life. Not just on my eating, but on my joy, presence, and freedom. I'm not pretending that restriction disappears overnight, but I am intentionally working to loosen its hold. I'm choosing listening over controlling, permission over punishment, and presence over fear. This relationship with food hasn't been smooth sailing, but for the first time, it feels like I'm actually working with my body instead of against it. That's where I am as I continue moving through week 1. I'll check back in next week and share what continues to unfold. If you're navigating your own relationship with food, your body, or health, and would like to learn more about the Empower Her journey, or join my free Facebook group, you can find the information in the links below. And I'll see you next week right here for the Work in Real Time.